Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. We have to talk about what some of the ancillary effects might be from the combination of Warner Brothers Discovery with Paramount. And I'm going to just say this. Zack Snyder may be the biggest winner of all when we start to talk about superheroes, because Gunn may be forced out or maybe on his way out and just be doing a limited number of projects for the future DC label, because I think it's all going to change. How about you? Let me know right now in the comments section below. But we're going to talk about it anyways, so here goes. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K. We're not very far away now. Less than 3,000 of you need to subscribe to the channel. So if you're here for your first time or your 1,000th time, please double check you're still subscribed or you are subscribed by looking at the button and clicking on it to say subscribed, and then click on the bell icon to, well, turn on all notifications. After that, it's a simple thumbs up to boost engagement right from the start, and we'll get into it. If you have thoughts during the course of the video, leave them in the comments section below. I want to have discussions about this because this headline coming to us from Cosmic Book News is something that's consistently said across many outlets. Does Zack Snyder's DC return in some form or fashion? And Zack Snyder himself seems to be teasing Justice League Rebirth with Henry Cavill Superman image. I thought this was quite interesting. Hopefully you agree. Zack Snyder has now shared an image of Henry Cavill as Superman on Instagram following news that Paramount submitted a revised offer for Warner Brothers Discovery, an offer Warner Brothers Discovery has since said is superior to Netflix's bid. Well, that's not surprising. I think we all agree that that's the thing that happened. Why it happened? Well, we can argue about why, but I think Netflix realized that their shareholders were not giving them a lot of faith. They were thinking that this was a terrible plan. And in canceling this deal, they jumped up several percentage points almost immediately. Of course, so did Paramount, but Warner Brothers Discovery took the hit, a 1% downward slope, and that's not too bad for, not being so in demand. Regardless, Zack Snyder has now shared an image of Henry Cavill as Superman on Instagram following news that Paramount submitted and revised their offer for Warner Brothers Discovery, an offer Warner Brothers Discovery has since said is superior to Netflix's bid. That, of course, is paving the way for Paramount to win Warner Brothers Discovery, which they did. And the timing is hard to ignore. Much like all of the other DCEU images shared by Snyder, Snyder posted a quote alongside of the Henry Cavill image saying, "Where I had thought to find an abomination, I shall find a god. Where I thought to slay another, I shall slay myself. And where I thought to travel onward, I shall come to the center of my own existence. Where I had thought to be alone, I shall be with all the world." What's he sending you? What kind of message is that? Has he been talking to Paramount in the background? Wouldn't surprise me, might surprise others. Let's continue on. The Joseph Campbell connection, Rebirth. That's right. The quote comes from Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces, specifically from The Belly of the Whale stage of the hero's journey. The section represents transformation, the hero confronting fear, ego, and false perception before emerging changed. It signals rebirth and a shift in perspective. And I can only imagine that this has happened within Snyder himself. He's been through a great deal of tragedy in his life, especially recently, which kind of seemed to filter over in some of his more recent films before he exited Warner Brothers to go work at Netflix. Maybe he saw the work he was doing at Netflix not being quite up to snuff, and I would say the audience would agree. Snyder choosing that quote under an image of Cavill's Superman and the potential of Paramount buying Warner Brothers Discovery doesn't feel random. No, it feels very much on purpose. And so this particular March tease raises eyebrows. A day earlier, Snyder posted, "March is close. It's where my story begins. Birthday month, and somehow the month where so many of my films found their way into the world. 300, Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, Sucker Punch, and Batman v Superman. Now, look, I have been fans of all of these particular films with the exception of Batman v Superman, calling it far too dark and hard to engage with, and maybe just maybe where the DC universe he'd created jumped the shark. I would say the worst aspect of that was, of course, The Flash, but we won't talk about that now, will we? And that reads like a setup. March is clearly significant to Snyder historically, but posting that message now, right as Paramount's offer gains traction, feels like more than nostalgia. It sounds like someone is hinting at something coming. And in an update, Josh Horowitz has teased something BVS is coming with Zack Snyder. Does that surprise anybody? Doesn't surprise me. So at this point, this story is a little out of date because Warner Brothers Discovery has confirmed that Paramount's revised proposal qualifies as a superior proposal, giving Netflix a limited window to respond, which they did, saying they won't match it. Rumors suggest Netflix could still walk away from the deal, which they did, and because that happened, Paramount's path to acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery is much more clear. And of course, Cosmic Book News posted on X yesterday, right above Charles Gasparino, who basically has been on top of this story since the beginning. And he's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of stuff. And in fact, he's one of the people that Valiant Renegade has paid attention to as well. So is a Snyderverse announcement coming? Well, not immediately, and not until probably the deal is completely closed. But that doesn't mean there isn't some planning going on behind the scenes. We've been told that the Snyderverse is back in play if Paramount wins the bid. They want big blockbuster movies, and we're told that teaming with the Saudis, who also want testosterone-driven films. They love the Snyderverse. And we're also told that Zack Snyder has a new Justice League plan, or plans. My goodness, that would be amazing. So we've also heard that Henry Cavill is on board with return as Superman, with Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa potentially returning as well. Ooh, boy, that's going to put a big hole in the pockets of Disney if they want to try to retain these folks for future things. Jason Momoa is already in the boat for, anything Warner Brothers has been doing, but this is going to be weird competition for talent in the future. And I'm going to tell you, the one that'll lose will be Disney. Snyder sharing Cavill's Superman image at this specific moment adds fuel to that fire. Joe Manganiello has also been teasing a return as Deathstroke. That'd be pretty cool. Nothing official has been announced, nor will it be. Let's be clear. Nothing official will be announced until they can, until this deal is a certainty, and until it's walked through the ridiculous European processes, which it should easily do. They're going to try to look like they're somewhat fair. It's the UK that is the only one that I think is ridiculous, but that's a whole other conversation. And between the hero's journey quote and the March message, Paramount's rising position in Cavill's Superman resurfacing on Snyder's feed, it certainly feels like something is building. Building? I think it's basically an announcement wrapped in a less than convoluted tweet with a lot of symbolism tied to it. And I think that's kind of what people are looking for in their pop culture these days. That and a good story for a change. Maybe Snyder turns the lights up on the future of not just DC, but on his production and the filters that he uses as well. And maybe less slow motion. But hey, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. If you believe that the Snyderverse is returning, I want to hear from you. Let me know that for a fact. And also, do you think that somebody would jump on board of a new Justice League under the Zack Snyder window? Do you think that Gunn and Snyder can exist in the same space? Do you think Gunn's done once we get drunk Supergirl and maybe one more project like Lanterns out there? Hard to say, but your guess is as good as mine. So if you have other thoughts about this, again, comment section down below, and we will jump into it in the comments. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Hopefully with a brighter future for DC.